Hey everybody, happy Memorial Day to those who celebrate. But hey, I got a studio day. So we're going to paint today. Hopefully you guys join on. Let me know what you guys are doing today. Welcome everyone. Sebastian, I see joining us. Harp, Chase, Bingus, and TikTok. Welcome. How you guys doing this Memorial Day? I'm literally C dropping in. Mab World, Carlo, Estan, welcome. Doing a bonus stream today. Getting some work done in the studio. Wow. The wife is watching the kid for me for a change, which has been really nice. So, getting some work done whenever I can. I figured bring you guys in with me. We've done all of our holiday stuff. 10 people in the chat. That's awesome, guys. Welcome to the chat. Loving the likes. Appreciate it. See a bunch of hearts. Guys, thank you so much for hopping in here. Super appreciate it. Over on Twitch, Lights Camera Seek, live from the 215. You know it, man. Up in the Northeast. That's awesome. A fellow Philly artist. That is sick to hear. Where in Philly are you from, Lights Camera Seek? I gotta know where my Philly peeps are at too. Awesome. You guys are great. Thank you so much for all the likes over on TikTok. That is super awesome. Really love to see it. What do we got? Just let me know how to manage it. So what are we all doing on Memorial Day? I'm obviously in the studio. East Oak Lane area, fantastic. Like I said, I'm up in Northeast. I'm in Frankfurt, Lights Camera Seek. So like not too far from Arid Street. Yeah, I think you're on the other side of the boulevard, I believe, if I'm correct. You gotta love the Philly art scene. Like that's one of the biggest things I love about this neck of the woods. Like I've been like Philly adjacent my entire life. Grew up in Pottstown. Um, so whenever anyone asks me where do you live in Pennsylvania, it's like I live near Philly. Is always that standard go-to response. But now I actually live in Philly. I've been in Philly for like over 10 years now. Been bouncing around the city, and I love it. Philly's a really cool creative hub. Like it's got like any major city, it's got its problems, but hey, we love it, dude. 40 people over on TikTok. You guys are insane, and I love it. That is the most people I've had watching my stream at one time over on TikTok. You guys are awesome. I've seen all the likes come in, everything. You are awesome. So over on TikTok, then what are you guys doing today? Norristown, hell yeah. You know what it's like, Lights Camera Seek. It's that same thing. It's like nobody knows the ancillary suburbs. Everybody knows Philly or Pittsburgh, maybe Harrisburg, maybe the Poconos there. But that's about it. So you got to go off how far you're away from those major hubs. At least now I can legitimately say I am from Philly. So that's great. But yeah, everyone, what are we doing today? Like, I know it's Memorial Day. I know it's Memorial Day morning, so none of the festivities are kicking off for people. I know grilling's a big thing. We had a block party this weekend over here in the Northeast, so that was super cool. Always a blast. Always hilarious watching people try to drive down a street that is clearly blocked off. Um, Freaking hilarious. But yeah, I'm just painting today, just trying to get some work done. I'm going to make it a point to actually paint or sketch. I'm just putting some of the lines back in from paint over. So yeah, what is everyone doing today? What are people working on? I got shows coming up. I got one coming up in June over at Stranger Factory, which those pieces are already on their way. Should be there, but that was a blast. Finished up two pieces for a circus themed show, which was a blast to do. Working on some new stuff. I don't know, Lights Camera Seek. You're Philly, so Arch Enemy Arts, they're having their semi regular As Above So Below show. This is the second time I'm doing that. Um, Really fun and interesting concept the first time I did it, and I'm really digging the new stuff I'm currently working on for them. So, the As Above So Below, it's honestly one of my favorite shows. They take the key concept of the show is all the pieces have to be viewed two separate ways. So halfway through the show, they can flip them upside down and showcase the other side. So that's what I'm working on right here. I know you got a better glimpse there over on Twitch and YouTube, but let me slide that over. We got two characters here on this big panel. Let me actually hold it up, make life a little easier. Two characters, one clearly upside down, one right side up. But that's the great part is halfway through the show, they always flip it over, get that secondary view. It's such a cool experience to have there and actually watch them go through and flip over all the panels one by one. And it's like a whole new art show in the same night. So definitely love it. If you're in the Philly area, definitely recommend checking out Arch Enemy Arts. They are my go-to gallery. They are awesome people. Noah and Lauren are amazing individuals over there, and I appreciate them for giving me a chance to be part of their artist base. But yeah. Shut up. Lights, camera, seek. I don't know if you're still on or if you had to hop off, which I totally get. But what are you working on? Like, would love to see what you do. I'll probably go over to your Twitch then and see what you do. If you have a TikTok or Instagram, feel free to drop it in the chat. I would more than happily love to check it out and see what you guys do. Um, I'm a big proponent of supporting other small artists. I love, especially here on TikTok, guys. If you are an artist, I love following people who have like a nice small following to help them get off the ground and get started with things. Like I know I just recently hit 1,000 followers over on TikTok, and that has been fantastic. Love and seeing all the hearts, guys. That is so fantastic. Photography, fantastic. That is cool. Photography's never been my thing. Like I love it. I appreciate photography. Doing the artwork has given me a appreciation for photographing my own. God, words. Crimson over on TikTok. Thanks for all the likes. I super appreciate it. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I've been a traditional, very like photography is a traditional medium. Expressive Eddie is my IG. Do you have a TikTok as well, Lights Camera C? Because I also am on there. That's honestly my biggest platform right now. Michael Weaver Art over on Instagram as well. If you want to follow me over there, Lights Camera Seek. It's where I post all the Philly Art Dad stuff. I still technically do have a Philly Art Dad account on Instagram, but the problem is managing two separate accounts got really weird, especially when I was cross posting. So the one is going to go away, and all the Philly Art Dad content is going to live on my main Instagram and TikTok. Which, again, for my people over on TikTok, you're going great. Over 500 likes. Super appreciate you guys. Thanks for hanging on. But yeah, for those of you who are brand new to Philly Art Dad, same name here. Fantastic. Like I said, lights, camera, sync. I will check you out after the stream. I got a new video going up today as well. Always love post days. So I know it's a holiday, but I still like to keep my schedule. Monday, Wednesday, Friday is generally when the new videos drop. Monday and Friday are generally more informative, like what I call standard Art Dad content, where I'm making sure I am sharing the information that I've gained over my 15 plus years as a professional artist. And Wednesdays tend to be more meme days, poking fun at things, poking fun at myself, really poking fun at the AI bros. So always a blast there. But yeah, I like to keep it lighthearted. So if you have not, wherever you are, if you're over on Twitch, YouTube, or TikTok, would love to get your follower sub. That would super appreciate it. It means a lot to me. Just lets me know subconsciously that what I am doing is appreciated and you guys like the content that I post. Like, one of the big things is I never like to gatekeep information. Gatekeeping is the bane of the artistic community. Like, we should be able to freely share information with each other. No one's getting a leg up. We're all on our own creative path, and that's the beauty of this artistic world. So if you guys got questions about being an artist, what it takes to, like, what you should be doing to get your art out there, feel free to drop those questions in the chat. I am more than happy to answer questions you guys have for me. That is literally what I built this platform on. So drop any questions you got for me in the chat, and I'll be more than happy to answer them for you. Where are we going right now? I can also pull up my reference photo. Hell yeah. Minimize that. There we go. Gotta get my reference photo, my lion skull. Gotta sharpen my pencil here, and we'll get back drawn. I do have a Fuzzy Studio Manager somewhere enjoying the sunlight in the windowsill over there. They may or may not be making an appearance on this stream. The algorithm has been serving me artists who do licensing of their art. Do you? I currently have not licensed my art. That's a big. Even though I've been doing this for like over 15 years, that's something I have not experienced yet. I have friends who have licensed their artwork. They've done art. They've licensed artwork for books, covers of books, which has been awesome. Artists who have done album covers. Jesse getting the #1 gifter badge. That's sick as hell. But a lot of the times the story that comes down to licensing your artwork, it's not about reaching out to people. It's literally a lot of these people have built up their following over years of posting online, posting their video, posting their work, making a name for self, that people recognize them. They become fans of the art, and then they reach out to the artist to do that stuff. Like that's what happened with my friend Michelle Avery Kosniak. She goes by Velvet Mush here on TikTok and Instagram and on YouTube as well. She's an amazing watercolor painter, and she continued to just post her stuff normally. And after some time, like she gained a following, and in that following was someone who was working on a book, and they reached out to her and they asked her, it's like, we want you to paint or design the cover for this book. So that tends to be how a lot of people get involved with at least that aspect of licensing. Is there a specific question you have about licensing artwork? Let me see. Jesse? There we go. Got scrolled down. If there's a more specific question, I will hopefully try to answer it. But if I don't have the answer for it right now, I can always do some research on my end, and heck, that might be a video that I post somewhere down the line. Because I feel like if it's something that a lot of people want to know, it's good to know. Not really just curious about your thoughts. Yeah, like I said, I think like this is a really generic ass, why can't I think of it, response, but it's like it really does come down to a lot of times people you know. And then it also becomes a matter of like, okay, how big can you get? Like, case in point, my friend Paul Romano, another Philly artist here. Um, a lot of people will know him for the work he's done on album covers for Mastodon. Like that's his big thing. Like he's done 4 or 5 album covers for Mastodon, but he didn't start there. He started with a lot of smaller bands, and then worked his way up. So that's kind of the way it goes. But what happens with a lot of that is the artists. You start out as an artist and you get a following. You create some cool artwork, and then that may in turn get the attention of some of these authors, musicians. They might be smaller authors and musicians at the time, but it's great to take on those jobs because that can potentially lead to bigger jobs down the line. And that's the biggest thing about that. Like, when jobs come your way, I always find it important to obviously know your worth. Like, don't take a job for peanuts. Like, that's insane. Know your worth and like make sure you know your value, the value of your art. But it definitely can come down to is like if you have like, wow, a band wants me to design their album cover, as an example, and they can't afford a lot, but they can pay you something. It might be it's that weighing that value, like the money you're getting versus the value of, I hate to use the word, but exposure. Because I never want anyone, no artist should work for exposure for a living. That exposure does not pay the bills. But if they can pay you like maybe half of what you would normally take, but it does get your name out there more, there is a balance to that. Never do anything for free, but balance what you do for that. So, yeah, thank you for the question. Super appreciate it. Again, that's literally what Philly Art Dad was created for. Like, like the story I tell it as is like I had some really awesome parents growing up, but they didn't know squat about what it was to be an artist. And I never expected them to. Like, my dad was a factory worker essentially all his life. And then my mother was a bank teller. She was a secretary at school. Like, they never had any intimate knowledge about what it was like to be an artist. So I ended up trying to figure out a lot of this stuff on my own. And I will be completely blunt and honest about it. College, like, I went to art school and I found it great. I also went to art school for art education specifically. But when I did take, like, some classes to further expand my actual creative habit, um, the actual classes for how to be an artist, or like the business of being an artist, I had one class and that was it. It didn't cover anything about taxes. It didn't cover anything about marketing. At most, it was like, let's make business cards. Let's make a really rudimentary website with, like, I forget what the actual software was at the time. Like, I want to say Adobe Dreamweaver, but a really early version of that, because I went to college in the early 2000s. Like, I graduated 2009, so I was taking this class around like 2007, 2008. So it was very rudimentary stuff. So nobody had this information. And so a lot of it was me kind of just figuring this shit out on my own. But that's okay. I feel like during my time, like, one of the biggest things is I've made a lot of artist friends who have also essentially gone through the same thing and trying to get this information. And it's a sharing of ideas. We always share what we do and how we do it. That's the important thing at the end of the day. Is, again, don't gatekeep. If you have a bit of knowledge, share it. So again, I'll throw it back to the chat. If you got questions, you let me know. I'm here to answer them. Right now, we're just chilling in the studio. This is a bonus stream you guys are getting from me. I do my regular streams every Wednesday. If you want to join in, do them here on TikTok, Twitch, and YouTube. Um, YouTube and Twitch tend to get the better view because they got a better camera. TikTok, I have to do on the phone because OBS is a pain in the ass when it comes to TikTok. It works, but it's not the greatest. So yeah. But I try to get you guys a good view over here on TikTok. Go. We got some classic rock going in the background, guys. I was feeling a very much classic rock, and I realized the concept of classic rock is changing, and songs that I listened to growing up are now considered classic rock, and I absolutely hate that. So this is my classic rock we're listening to, stuff my dad grew up with, and he instilled a love of from me. But yeah. There we go. trying to get back into it. Do you have tips for motivation on a daily art practice? Oh my god, yeah. I mean, I don't want to just say like, "Hey, you just got to make time to do it every day," because everyone shares that piece of advice, and I do agree with that. It's important to just be rather prolific painter, sketch before college and life. It's been close to 20 years. So 20 years since you've been doing it. Yeah, that's a bit. Hey, it's a bit. It's been a bit of time, but I feel like maybe the best thing for you to do is just to start, just making it available to you. Getting a small pocket sketchbook. Like this is fair. This is a little big for being a pocket, but fits in like a backpack or a bag. Like I try to carry this along with me, along with like a mechanical pencil, as often as I can. But even something like if you got a small bag, or if you just want to fit something in your back pocket, getting a small sketchbook, and hell, you can even get some sketchbooks with a pencil or pen attached. Grab some of that, slip it in your pocket, slip it in your everyday carry, so you have access to just the ability to draw. I think that's just the first thing. Just having access to it and knowing that it's there and that you can pull it out is a big thing of at the to at least start making it available to you to be able to get your motivation back to drawing and painting and whatnot. From there, it's just a matter of carving out time for yourself. Again, this is feels so generic, but it really is true. I actually ordered Travis. Awesome, good. Then you are on the right path, Jesse. That is fantastic to hear. Because yeah, that's going to make your life easier. That's going to That's going to provide you a way to make sure that you have access to that all the time. But yeah, just then it's just coming down to making sure you can make the time, even if it's like you're on the train or something. Like I know here in Philly, like I take mass transit a lot, so there's a lot of downtime just sitting on the bus or on the train. So sadly, I can't sketch on there because I end up getting motion sickness if I try to do anything other than travel. Like I can't read on the bus or train. I can't scroll through any apps. I just have to be like I can listen to music and that's about it. But like if you are not one of those people who get motion sickness when you travel and you do things like train or bus, sketch on there. Or like if you're just chilling out in a park or even at the end of the night and you have the TV going on, like put something on that if you need like noise in the background, like put something on for like that white noise in the background and then pull out your sketchbook and sketch for like 10-15 minutes just to get those muscles back up and run again for when you're sketching. And that is going to be a huge help when you are trying to do that kind of stuff. So yeah, I think that's definitely one of the best ways to get back into that creative world. We're gonna close the door. I got family back from the park, so we're gonna close that. Oh, hey, bud. And of course, now I've trapped the cat in, and he's gonna want me to open the door again. Here you go, buddy. They never want to move until you close the door or do something like that. That's when they want to get out. It's without a hitch. But I gotta love having my studio managers in the studio here with me. It's always yeah, absolutely, Jesse, no problem. Thank you for the questions. I super appreciate that. And just asking because that's the important thing. I feel like not enough people ask. They have these questions and then they just let them sit and they never ask for help. I know I'm super bad at it, but I'm trying to be better about asking for help when I need it. So yeah. Anyone else, like I said, if you have questions that you want me to answer and just assist with, like I'd be more than happy to. I created this platform to make sure that everyone can feel comfortable asking questions and asking for help if they need it. And that's super important. It ain't me. It ain't me. Me. It ain't me. Me. It ain't me. It ain't me. I get it's a holiday. I appreciate you guys being on here, but don't be shy. Don't be shy. Feel free to ask away. Hey, love. Darling, won't you ease my worry now? Nation me down. In love with you. Upside down. Layla. You're my knee. Layla. Begging darling, please. Layla. Darling, won't you ease my worry? Wish on. Sorry if the brush licking wigs anyone out. I am a consummate brush licker. It's a bad habit I have yet to break. Okay, interesting. Apparently some people are talking about tobacco or something on TikTok, which is weird. I haven't seen anything like that. So, who knows? Don't do drugs. Drugs are bad. Says the guy who worked as a graphic designer for Verano and Zenleaf. Apparently, I'm not going to say what those are on the chat, but go look them up. It was a fun time being a graphic like I enjoyed doing the graphic design for while I was still on that team. It was definitely an experience, especially being someone who was never really a part of that lifestyle group. For those who know, they know. But yeah. Pardon me. I should not be this tired on a Monday. I've had my coffee, I've had my top up. Yeah. Anyone? People got plans for this holiday today? Like I said, I'm not never gonna knock people for just hanging out here because I love having you guys on. It makes the painting process a lot less lonely, and honestly, it's a nice bit of motivation. If I'm gonna be honest, knowing that people are actively watching you paint kind of helps with a bit of the motivation. What do we got going on today, guys? I would love to know. Even if it's nothing, even if you're just working on your own art today, I would love to hear that because I love knowing what you guys are working on. Um, and sharing info where I can. I'm working later, doodling now. What type of paint are you using? I am using acrylic paint. That is my medium of choice. Jesse, thanks for the question. Specifically, brand wise, I am a huge proponent of golden fluid acrylics. They are my go to paint. Um, the pigmentation is awesome. Like, I love everything about it. Um, I think, for lack of a better term, they're my gold standard. Haha, golden. Dejux. But see, in all seriousness, yeah, I've tried other mediums. I did watercolor for a little bit of time in my creative career. And I liked it, but I was like, I don't know. It just never got that deep pigmentation that I want. I know it's able to. I just personally couldn't get it, and I think I was getting frustrated with that over time. Which, weirdly enough, with my acrylic painting, I think I treat it more like watercolors than actual acrylics. I use a glazing method where like my paints are thinned down a lot more and I build it up layer over layer, but there's a lot more. I feel like I get a lot more pigmentation in acrylic paints than I personally ever did with watercolors. Um, like I said, everyone has their own um, staple that they use for painting. And like I said, I like acrylic. I know people knock it because it's like, oh, it's not as professional as oil. It's like, that's great. I also don't have, a month to let a painting dry when I have a 3-year-old running around. I definitely don't need tiny little fingerprints in an oil painting, let alone all the chemicals used for oil painting. I also am impatient as all hell and love the instant gratification of knowing that this is going to be dry once I'm done and I wrap up painting for today. So there's that too. So what kind of mediums did you mentioned you're just getting back into all that stuff, Jesse? What did you used to work on? I know you said you're doodling now, which is fantastic to hear. What did you used to do to it? I'd love to know. Watercolor is my base. Thin color. Fantastic. I feel like that would have been a good if I wanted to do watercolor. That might have been the way to go. Is doing that mixed media with the colored pencil on top. I was never. Um, why can't I think of it? I was never confident enough in my line work that I would. I really kind of just didn't gravitate towards ink, and like I said, that had everything to do with just my confidence in the line work that I was able to do. So, again, I guess another reason why I gravitate more towards my acrylic paints and like the way I glaze everything. It suits my personal style. Get it on. Gotta restock the palette. But that's awesome to hear. I like I said, I have such an appreciation for acrylic paint, mainly because it's one of those things where I personally just do not have the talent for it. So good on you. Get it on. Get it on. Get it on. Let it down. Get it on. Let it go. Get it on. And I guess I'm just thinking of this now, Jesse, from a previous question you had about how to get back in. Additionally, whenever you get back into watercolor, if it doesn't feel like you are being able to achieve the same level that you previously did prior to this break, that is absolutely fine. And I need you to be okay with that because after a long break of any length of time, hell, even I know for me, I've there's sometimes when I take a break for a week just because a piece has been very mentally draining. It is a very good possibility it's not going to look the same like it used to, and that's mainly because that muscle memory that you built up has deteriorated. It's just a natural aspect of taking a break. So you are going to have to make sure that you give yourself the grace that you need to create what you want. You will get back to the level you expect of yourself, but it will take some work and it will take time to get there. So, like I said, give yourself the grace to be messy and be dirty. What am I working on, Ventane? I'm hoping I'm saying that right. I'm working on a brand new piece for a show coming up in August at Arch Enemy Arts called As Above, So Below. It is one of my favorite shows they do. The whole theme of the actual show is to create a piece of artwork that can be viewed two separate ways. Because halfway through the show, the night of the opening, they actually go and flip everything upside down. So that's currently what I'm working on. I'll actually put it up to the camera so you can better see. And thank you for the blues. I really wanted to do a turquoise base, so a lot of more blues and greens. So that was really my base. I'm working off of like a color palette with like a lot of like teal, a lot of those like nice blues. I've been loving manganese blue hue. That's been a lot of what I've been going on. But like I said, let me pull it up here so you can kind of see. I got my two characters here that I'm working. So halfway through the show, when they go, they can flip the entire thing upside down, and it's a same piece but a completely different way. And I love this show. This is why. This is just some amazing stuff that they do. And thank you, appreciate it, Ventane. Like, yeah, always appreciate the praise, always appreciate the kind words, and I love talking about what I do. It's kind of what we have to do now. Um, with all this. But yeah, definitely working on a lot of teals, so awesome. Trying to work in some purples and maroons as well. I think those complement it nicely, and that'll be good with like the pops of red. I've got a heart in the middle here, the golds and yellows in the crown. So really, really just whittling away at this. Like, and on the plus side, I just started this last week, so I'm feeling really confident about this one. It's gonna be sick. Thank you. Yeah, I actually just what's great is like I am just wrapping up the first year of these so these characters. I used to paint a lot of still lifes, and just within the last year, I really wanted to start more character focused stuff so I can tell more stories, because I felt like that was something that for me my work was lacking a bit of, was the storytelling. Like, I could create some cool stuff. I um I love painting skulls. That's always been my thing. But it was very much still life driven. I did see your question, Jesse. I'll get to that in a second. It was much more still life driven. So in the grand scheme of things, it was a little bit more limiting to what I could be doing. And one of the things I love doing is, especially with a lot of these gallery shows, they have specific themes, and I was running into issues of really not being able to fit in those themes because I wanted to create stuff, but like the actual work that I was producing was a little bit limiting in what I could do. So I started just giving bodies. Like, they don't got musculature. It's just skulls with skeleton hands, and the body is this kind of just black void under a cloak. So that's kind of what's been happening. The characters, you said they are characters. I did say they are characters, Jesse. They are not necessarily from a story. This kind of just is my own imagination thing. So we've got I'll hold it up again so we can have some story time. We got, it's a little hard to see, but this guy over here, the vulture skull, is going to be representing a death character. You might be able to see the start of a massive scythe right there. So you've got a death character, just the implications that I haven't thought too much into what that story is, but like there's kind of a tell to it. And then when we flip it over so you can get a better idea, we got a much more royal figure, hence the crown. There's going to be, I have not started work on them, but swords that are actually coming in through the character's back. And again, still in the sketching stages, this character is holding their cloak open a little more, and they are offering up their heart to death. Again, I haven't thought too much. I'm just like, this is a cool concept and I like it, and the story will come later. What that is, I don't personally write the stories, but I'm also giving a lot more context clues to the viewer. on, hey, you fill in the story. I want to know what you gain from this. Actually, in one of my most recent videos, again here on TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram, I actually was talking about one of my favorite books, Understanding Comics, and just how the visual storytelling of comics and graphic novels has really been an interesting and big influencer in my current um, body of work. One of the concepts that I touched on in that video that I love in this is that concept of closure. And that's when the viewer of a comic fills in the gaps between the panels that are in every single comic book. You know, we see the story progress, but the story takes place panel by panel by panel, and there might be a time skip of a second or two up to a minute between panels, and having the viewer being able to fill in those gaps in those panels and those stories is a big thing that I wanted to bring over here. So I want to provide enough of the story that somebody can uh, essentially take influence and fill in those gaps in the story that might not be fully showcased here. So yeah, shameless plug, link in my bio. Fill in the blanks with, yeah, that's the whole part of it. But like that's the view I am. That is, I think, a big aspect of being an artist. Is I I will be the first to say I'm not the biggest storyteller. Like I like developing these characters, but creating the, like, I don't have backstories. I don't have any of that. I'll get back to you, Jesse, on that with the favorite artists, because there are a few. I got favorite books, favorite artists. Like it's insane. Um, but what was I saying? It's so important that I could tell a story and that can be the story, but I like the best part about creating art is seeing what other people think about your art and what stories they can create and come up with when seeing your art. So like obviously I'm providing a lot of clues here: death, a royal figure, swords in the back, offering up of a heart. So there's a lot of context clues of what the story is or will be. But I also love to see what other people think about that and what stories that they can come up with when they see a piece of artwork that I've created. And that's, again, that's the coolest part, I think, about being an artist. Not only the stories I create, but what influence these have on the stories that other people come up with when they view it. Thank you for that. Vente. That is, I love, again, super appreciate. Jesse, love comics. Same. Who are some of your favorite artists? If we're talking strictly comic artists, oh man, I'm forgetting off of the top of my head. I know books that I love the art and the story of. I'm a huge Walking Dead fan. I have the entire graphic novel collection, the entire story. So I love that. It was a beautiful story, beautifully written. I actually have. I'm blanking on his name. Artist. Tony Moore. Tony Moore. He did a lot of the early issues, and I actually, yeah, I pulled this out and I have to get it back up. But I got one of Tony's prints from one of the early issues. This was always one of my favorite prints, and I did get him to sign it. I met him at a local Comic Con in Reading, Pennsylvania. So that was super cool. So yeah, Tony Moore, love his work that he did with Walking Dead. Other books that I love. If you are a tabletop RPG nerd like myself, Die, DIE, is amazing. The artist is Stephanie Hans. The work in that book is stunning. The story is even cooler. Absolutely love it. Highly recommend it. 4 graphic novels in length tell the whole story. Just about a group of teenagers who got stuck in a tabletop RPG world. They got out, not fully intact, some of them, physically and mentally. And then, like 20 years later, they get invited back in. They're sent this set of dice that brought them in the first place. So really cool story, really good art, really good visuals. Highly recommend checking it out. It's like very much horror fantasy related in that. So highly check out Die. Um, Other artists, like not necessarily comic book artist, Johan Noor. He is the creator and the artist of the tabletop RPG Morkborg. Very, very death metal, very doom and despair artwork. I absolutely love it. Yeah. So those are some just like more like dropping my paper towel roll. Those are some amazing creators in the comic book and like the tabletop RPG space. But like other artists, Paul Romano, like I said, not only a good friend and a neighbor who lives up the street from me, but an amazing artist. His partner as well, Darla Jackson, is a great. Why can't I think of it? Sculptor. Beautiful work. Her show, the 36 Chambers, I want to say, was an entire show with one sculpture based off of this one song from Wu-Tang Clan's album, The 36 Chambers. And that was awesome. Really cool, just collection of work. Um, Other artists that I love, I always default to Philly artists because that's my niche. That's where I'm at. So I get to meet so many cool people. Michelle Avery Kosnick, if you want a great watercolorist, beautiful stuff. Caitlin McCormick here in Philly. She is a fiber artist. She crochets these very delicate pieces. A lot of them are bird skeletons, and they are so amazingly constructed, and the composition of the piece is amazing. Who else? Robert Kryza. He's my tattoo artist. So I got this one here. He did for me. This was in 2019. This was not only the year I got married, but also the year that I had my first piece in Arch Enemy Arts here in Philadelphia. So have like the scissors and needle. I do a lot of embroidery on my art. I'm not doing that now. I'm in the painting phase, but all of my pieces have embroidered elements. So check some of my previous videos on TikTok or YouTube, guys, and those are watching on Twitch and YouTube. Check those out to see what I do with that. And then the succulents were all parts of my wife's actual bouquet. So that was awesome. I have a whisk and dandelion. My mother and I got matching tattoos. She got a paintbrush instead of a whisk, but the dandelion was the same. And I got another on the calf that he did of a cat skull with some art supplies. So Robert Kryza is an amazing artist and tattoo artist that I highly recommend checking out. Like I said, another amazing Philly artist. Again, thank you for the questions. That's super sick. I'm going to return the question. Any favorite artists you guys have? I would love to hear comic book artists, TTRP artists, or just regular artists that you love seeing their work. And it can be like dead or alive artists. I love the classics. I love, a lot of stuff like Van Gogh. A lot of those guys I dig, but I'm a huge proponent of I love supporting my living artists. So would love to hear some of you guys' favorite artists. Yes, Fables. Who did Fables? The wife coming in clutch. Thank you for that reminder. Such a good story. Who was the artist in that? Bill Willingham was the author, but who drew it? Main character, genre. I don't care about that. I want to know who drew it. It was created by Bill Willingham, but you're not going to tell me who the artist was? Okay, it looks like there were a few like pencilers, inkers. Um, Mark Buckingham, Lan Medina. That one is also cool. That style has always um, fluctuated between very like a watercolor flowy to very much like stark comic book style. In comics, Alex Ross, absolutely. David Mack, Adam Hughes, Chris Bachalo, Terry Moore, Jay Lee. I probably know most of them, but I'm very much a visual learner and a very visual person. So I'd probably have to see the actual artwork to know who half of those people are. I feel bad because it's like I know over on Twitch, love the paintings of Alexandra Cabanel. Okay, we're, we're doing Google searches, people. Now you got me on another thing. So like I know the name Alex Moore or Alex Ross. I'm combining artists' names. Yeah, okay, Alex Ross. Absolutely. That was that did yeah, Kingdom Come, Alex Ross, that's right. I knew that style. So Alex Ross, absolutely beautiful work. Such a different aspect to that I think Marvel never had before that. David Mack, okay. That's probably not the. Okay, there we go. David W. Mack is the American comic book artist. It came David Anthony Mack, which is a professional runner. So different artist. Ooh, I like that work. Did work on Echo. Okay. I'm noticing a trend, Jesse. Very much that watercolor style, which I'm noticing here in David Mack. Alex Ross kind of has that aspect too. Let's see, Adam Hughes. Okay, Adam Hughes doing a lot of the. I love the pinup style of Adam Hughes. Again, I told you, like I know these people's artworks. That's great. Who else? Chris Bachalo. Okay. What did he do? Changing Man. Neil Gaiman's Death series. Okay. Yeah. Again, Jesse, I've definitely. These are all people I know and I've seen. Terry Moore, absolutely. That's not the Terry Moore that I was looking for. That's an actress, Terry Moore. I'm talking about the comic book artist, Terry Moore. Strangers in Paradise, Rachel Rising, Homage. Okay. Have it actually first one that I don't think I've actually seen a lot of their stuff. So I might have to check out Terry Moore. Jesse, thank you for that suggestion. And I'm pretty positive I've seen Jay Lee. Yeah, I've seen his stuff. That is awesome. The Dark Tower Gunslinger series, Inhumans. Yeah, and Ron Hazel suggesting TikTok's making me solve a puzzle. Uh, Alexandra Cabanel. Okay, a lot more classic. French painter, sick. Mary Blair, Alphonse Mucha, Rauschenberg, Alan Lee. Right. I mean, that's kind of what it is about being an artist. It's like talking about art. I have a love-hate relationship with the art world. Okay, Mary Blair, very cool stuff. I dig it. All right. Like there are obviously like I run the gamut of being an artist like okay, all art is good, all creativity is great, but I'm also like some artists are just not my cup of tea. Like I will personally say and I will go on record that I am not a fan. I know Alphonse Mucha. I'm pretty positive I know Rauschenberger. Robert Rauschenberg, yeah. But like Rothko. I personally, Rothko is not my cup of tea. I know a lot of people have big feels that Rothko was this genius painter. I don't get it. I don't like it. It's not my cup of tea. I have in a video I've said it's like it's not good, and I know that has triggered so many people, but I just don't like Rothko. Um, it's not for me. For those of you who are not familiar with Rothko, he's the guy that paints like 20-foot tall canvases with giant squares of color. Cool, whatever. A lot of the modern art world and the modern art time frame of art was just a lot of weird shit. Alan Lee, artist, English illustrator. Okay. Okay, yeah. Alan Lee, more of an illustrator. Fantastic. Thank you for sharing all those, Jesse. But yeah, the modern art time period, like where Rothko was, I think that's technically the modern art period or contemporary art, whatever you want to call it. That was just a weird time period that had some weird art. And like I'm definitely on like two dichotomies because like Alexander, I want to say it was it Dumas who did the Ready Mades? No, Dumas was a playwright. Who am I thinking of? I'm thinking of the artist for The Fountain. Duchamp. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you for the Jesse. Like I the absurdity of that piece, specifically The Fountain, I both love and hate. Like as a practicing artist who paints and digs a lot of time into his craft, like I hate the simplicity of that. What bots over on Twitch trying to get me to go to a website that's probably spam. We are not. But like that, I both appreciate the absurdity of Duchamp, but also like, god damn it, put in a fucking toilet. The same thing goes with whoever did um the banana piece, the banana on the wall. Whoever that artist was, the comedian by Maurizio Catalan. And it's like I've seen some of Catalan's work, like actual sculptural work. Really kind of dig it. Like again, not my cup of tea, but like the guy's technically sound, like the work that Catalan has done was awesome. And then the banana duct tape to the wall was absolutely rage inducing. Young, in my opinion, the only thing that doesn't count as art is content that is not from your soul. If you made something because you wanted to, it's art. If you made something that someone might buy, you're making product. I kind of dig that. That very much leans into like my whole aspect of AI art because the algorithm is the one making the art, and there's no soul there. I kind of that's an interesting concept. Um, because I think thank you for that. This is a fantastic question, young chef Dave. Super. So I'm going to reiterate it for everyone. So TikTok and YouTube, because you can't see that. In my opinion, the only thing that doesn't count as art is content that is not from your soul. If you made something because you wanted to, it's art. If you made something that someone might buy, you are making a product. What do you think? It's an interesting concept because I, as an artist and like this, obviously my goal is I hope someone buys this piece of artwork. Um, would I be making this piece of artwork if I didn't truly enjoy the concept and the what I'm doing? No, because that's some. It's definitely one thing I am abide by is I try to just make art that I am excited about. If I'm not excited about it, I'm not going to do that. On the flip side, I am also one of the pieces that I have planned that I'm work on is actually I do plan on painting a skateboard deck. Now, on that same note, I definitely started out with like the concept is there, and I have the concept and I love the idea. The idea of putting it on a skateboard deck definitely had a little bit, definitely had part of it that is like this could be something cool that I could sell and potentially license or whatever. Going back to the question you had, Jesse, about licensing art, so potentially something there. So it is a product, but I'm enjoying it. I'm pouring my efforts and my ideas into it. So I still think it's art. And yeah, I guess if we're going back to like the banana duct tape to the wall, is that art? Technically, it's art. Um, Callan was trying to tell a story and do that. Did it resonate with a lot of people? Yes, some of it was the resonation was great. People appreciated it. Like it obviously sold, which is still ludicrous to me. But it is art. Um, Again, I think we could go back and forth and talking about what's good art and what's bad art. But I think at the end of the day, if the question is it art? Yes, it's art. Is it art that I like? No, absolutely not. But that's the glory of art. Just because I don't like it doesn't make it less a piece of art. Super good question, young Chef Day. Absolutely appreciate that. That is awesome. But I will say this: I am a huge proponent of design as well. Furniture pieces, especially a lot of mid-century modern furniture, um, took a lot of design needs. Someone had to come up with the way like a chair curves and sits, and like in those are also I could consider a lot of those being art in a way. Actually, 2 seconds. We're gonna go over to the library and get a book. Yes. I don't know if this is a book that can even how much it is, but Design of the 20th Century. Um, and maybe this is the aspect of design versus art, but looking at a lot of these pieces, like this is a perfect example. Like, I don't have the aspects. This is a chair that was designed in 1905 by Eugene Galliard. Like that chair is in and of itself designed so beautifully that I could consider like the amount of time that went into creating this and designing this piece could very much be considered a piece of art in and of itself. We just look at it as a chair, as something that we use, um, and we kind of start to dismiss what that is. Even better, August Endel, Entrance Gates to the Elvira Studio in Munich. That is a piece of art. Is it gates that go to a building? Yes, but that is a stunning gate. That is a stunning design. That is a stunning piece of art that lives on the front of this building for everyone to see, and it's not locked behind the doors of a museum, which is amazing. Rotten Hazel, I really admire anyone who can make those realistic, fantastical pencil drawings. Yeah, graphite pencil is an insane, another one of those mediums that takes a lot of skill. Um, Again, like as long as I actually did a lot of pencil drawings. Like I actually started out doing some pencil portraits, and I dug it. I liked it. I just I needed color. Yeah, absolutely, young chef day. And like I said, it's design in the 20th century. Actually, I'm gonna see if I have. I have. For those of you who are not aware, I have, as a lot of us creators do, we have um, like affiliate links and stuff. I use a platform called Benable, and you can just look me up in there, Benable, and Michael Weaver, Your Philly Art Dad, and I have a lot of the books. Also on Twitch, Young Chef Daddy. There's a link in my about page that takes you the link. It's called Link in My Bio, and there's a link that'll take you directly to my library suggestions. So there are a lot of books in there. I don't know if this. I don't think this one is available. Ooh, is that it? Charlotte and Peter Feel. I'm gonna make sure I add this one right now because this is a book that I keep forgetting. This was a college textbook that I had to get. A beefy, thick college textbook. I'm gonna make sure I add this because this is one of those things that when we talk about art, um, design is just as much an aspect of art as painting itself. So let's see. This is going under criticism, history, and theory. So yeah, I'm actually adding a link right now in my library. So go to the link in my bio, check it out for all the books that I recommend. This one is actually going to be there once I get it set up. So thank you for that. And yeah, I love it. I love talking about art, and I'm not much of an art history buff, but it's definitely a huge part of the creativity of this world. So that is awesome. Is it being weird? There we go. So yeah. Yep, just added it up there. Young Chef Daddy. Uh, Feel free to go, like I said, over on Twitch, go to my about, and you'll see link in my bio. Same thing for you guys over on TikTok and YouTube. Link is in my bio if you want to check out any of the books. Hell, even the art supplies that I use. It is all there for you to see. And if you do make a purchase through one of those links, I get a little kickback. Jesse, I know we were talking about comics. I got some of my recommended comics there as well. So highly recommend checking those out too. But thank you again for the questions. That is awesome stuff. Thank you. Thank you. I think though, guys, as much as I'm loving all the conversation and everything that's going on, I think we're gonna have to wrap it up. This has been my morning, just a nice little impromptu morning stream, and I've super appreciate everyone's hopped on here. Don't forget, if you have not already, give me a follow, whichever platform you're viewing this on. Give me a follow over on TikTok, follow over on Twitch so you can be notified when I am going live again. Motu McCracken over on TikTok. Thank you for the follow. I see that. I saw you. Appreciated. That way you can be notified when I go live. I do a regular stream every Wednesday at around 5:30, and we go for about 2 to 3 hours there. So more of the same. Just painting, chatting, all that fun stuff. So, like I said, follow, subscribe, whatever, and you can be notified when I am going live next. And especially make sure to follow me on platforms like TikTok and YouTube so you can get notified when I post new videos. I got a new video coming out in 1.5 hours at 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time in Philly. So that's going live, and I'll be posting it also, like I said, YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram over there. It's either going to be Michael Weaver Art or Philly Art Dad. So make sure to check me out. All the links are in the bio, as I said, so you can make sure you can find me on every platform. Would super appreciate if you give me a follow on each of them. I'm building up my small community of viewers across the way. TikTok has been awesome. Young Chef Daddy, have a good day. Thanks again for stopping in. And to everybody else, thank you so much for stopping in. Thank you for your comments, your chats, your likes, everything. As I always like to say at the end of my videos, stay weird, art kid. Have a nice one.